Hey everybody, my name is Chris. How about I do a recap of the fragrances that I wore the most in October. The fall and winter and colder months are some of the most fun times to create content because I think for the most part, myself included, some of my favorite perfumes I wear during this time of the year. They're warm, cozy, spicy, incensey, sweet. And there are so many fun topics to do in the colder months with regards to perfume. And oftentimes some of the perfumes that I wear the most just do not fit in those category of videos that I'm currently showing. So I thought it would be fun if you could see kind of behind the scenes, what did I actually wear during the past month? I have a pretty good idea of what I wore the most, but I double check on Instagram. And so I think I have 8 or 9 perfumes that I wore the most in the month of October, with maybe 1 or 2 runners up. And with that, I'm going to get started. So the first one I want to talk about is from the Scents of Wood. I love the Scents of Wood. I think they are masters at doing fragrances that showcase woody perfumes or woody notes. And there are so many on my list to get. This perfume is Praline Maple, and it was on my full bottle list for pretty much 2 years. One of the many things I love about Scents of Wood is that they offer the little travel sizes so you can test them. And sometimes the travel size is just enough, but I couldn't stop thinking about this one perfume. Even though Plum and Cognac, I think, gets all the attention, Praline Maple is one of my very, very favorite because it features the note of cedar. And when cedar is done well, it is just gorgeous. Sandalwood is an easy note to showcase because I think it's just an easy wood and it's a likable wood. Cedar, on the other hand, is a little bit more difficult. It's not always universally appealing, but I do love it in perfumes. And this fragrance really showcases that clean, fresh, cut cedar, like you were out in nature. And where I grew up, particularly where I went to college in Austin, cedar trees are everywhere. So it reminds me of home. It reminds me where I grew up and spent most of my life, and it brings me right back home. But this perfume also it's just perfectly blended. It's got notes that I love and notes that I don't always love, but it is just blended to perfection. There's pepper, it's nutty, but it's not sticky. There's cloves in here giving it the perfect amount of spiciness. I do think it's perfect for the colder months, but this is going to be wonderful for the holidays. It just screams cold holidays. And it has incense. And as you know, if you've been following me, incense is one of my favorite notes. So it has a sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet. And I think a lot of people compare this to By the Fireplace. And I think there are a lot of differences. By the Fireplace is way sweeter. It's stickier. It has a sticky sweetness to it. I almost do get like a roasted marshmallow. Whereas I don't get that here, even though they both share a nuttiness, a nice nuttiness. So it's not as sweet, it's more woody, it has more of a fresh, warm wood, and it's slightly more spicy. So Praline Maple got a lot of wear in October. I am going to show a perfume that I think I wore the most at the end of September and all of October. It is a perfume that surprised me. It kind of came out of nowhere. And it is by Dries van Noten, and it is Rock the Myrrh. So back in the spring, I bought the Discovery set for Dries van Noten, and I got it because of Sois Malakay getting all the attention. And I did the Discovery set, and guess which bottle I really wanted to purchase? It was this one. This is the one I just couldn't get out of my mind. And it really spoke to me the most, even though Sois Malakay is a beautiful perfume. This one was just a little bit more me. This is a spicy, resinous, peppery amber fragrance with some fresh green woody undertones. It has a little bit of an animalic touch in the very beginning. So when you first spray it, you are going to get a pop of pink pepper. So there's pepper, it's green, it's evergreeny, it's fresh. It has a spiciness. And then maybe 5 minutes in, there is the slightest bit of an animalic funk. And I think it's probably myrrh and leather or suede that's in here. So just for a second, it has a teensy bit of an animalic funk, but that burns off. And as it dries down, it is the most intoxicating, addictive fragrance. Again, it's warm, it's spicy. So there's myrrh, there's resins, there's cypress in here. And cypress gives fragrances a fresh, green woodiness. I love the note of cypress. It has a pretty prominent leather or suede, but that fades in the background, and this is a spicy, resinous amber perfume. I don't like wearing fragrances in general to like doctor's appointments, doctors or dentists or that kind of thing. I don't want to offend anybody. So I had sprayed underneath the jacket, and I had a zip up jacket. And as I'm sitting there waiting for my eye appointment, I had sprayed Rock the Myrrh, and it just kind of snuck up underneath my collar. It was so addictive and intoxicating. I remember thinking, wow, I'm in this beautiful bubble of gorgeousness, but it's not overpowering because I didn't spray it directly on clothes. I didn't spray it on my jacket, so it's just so beautiful. And surprisingly, I have this friend at work, and she really is very picky about her perfumes. She really likes rose, like a tea rose, very light, clean, and fresh. Her name is Terry, and she's like, "Ooh, I really like what you're wearing today." And I just about fell over because this has none of the notes that she typically likes. She actually wanted me to write down the name of the perfume, and I said, "Are you sure?" It's a little on the pricey side. I think I'll probably give her a little decant, and that'll be good for her. So Rock the Myrrh was the most worn perfume over the past month, and I'm going to wear the heck out of it up until the spring. It's just perfect for this time of the year. I am kind of just going to grab and go, and the next one I picked up is Sugar Leather. Boy, I got this in the spring, and this is not a hot weather fragrance, and I could not wait to wear it. This is just so yummy. It's for people like me who really enjoy the note of cinnamon. It is a leather fragrance. Leather isn't always easy for me, but this is a delicious gourmandy, leaning gourmandy leather perfume. It's resinous. It's ambery. It has a prominent, like a sweet cinnamon, like a cinnamon stick with sugar on top. It has a similar profile to Angel Share and Herod, but it's not as sticky sweet. It's not as thick, it's not as sticky sweet, and it has a leather note. To me, the leather is more on the beginner side. It's not in your face, but it's there in the background just to provide some warmth. This has also like a dried fruit vibe. I want to say a little bit of caramel. I get a little bit of sweetness, so I think it's a caramelly sweetness. I just absolutely love it, and this one got quite the workout over the month of October. So the next one, my chair is squeaking. The next one is called Ingenious Ginger by Goldfield and Banks, and ginger hasn't always been one of my favorite notes. This is the year of the surprising notes, so ginger, leather. Never had a ton of fragrances with those notes or accords, and I'm just loving them right now, and I think they're pretty popular. So Ingenious Ginger is a very unique ginger perfume. I think it's very, very likable, and I tried it because one of my friends out there, Dirk, hi, how are you doing? He sent me a decant several months ago, and I fell in love. It was so good. So this is gingery. It's very citrusy. It's ambery. It has patchouli and a little bit of vanilla. So this is a gourmand perfume, and what I get out of this is a warm citrus scone topped with a candied ginger drizzle or syrup. It starts off very tangy, very fresh, very citrusy. I mean, it almost smells like grapefruit. So it's that fresh and tangy and zingy. And it's sweet, but it's not cloying. So it's very fresh, very mouth-watering in the beginning. And as it dries, that vanilla comes out more. It's warm and woody. There's got to be a sandalwood in here. It gets creamier, warm, woody, but ginger is still in the background. And I just adore it. So this one, Ingenious Ginger, got a big workout, and I will be wearing it a lot in the next several months because this one also just reads fall and holiday. Tied for Rock the Myrrh as the most worn perfume for the month of October and September for that matter is this little beauty right here, Eau The Audacity. It's getting a lot of, it is definitely starting to make the rounds on social media. I bought this blindly because one of my very favorite, probably my very favorite profile is an incensey, woody, spicy vanilla. And as my luck would have it, that type of perfume seems to be pretty popular at the moment, although it's always been just kind of me in a bottle. So I bought this blindly right when it came out because it's so hard for us in the United States to get Baby Cat. I'm always on the hunt looking for something that is a good substitute or fill-in for Baby Cat if it ever disappears off the face of the earth like it did for several months. If you have Baby Cat, you do not need this. I have heard that these are 100% dupes. I'm telling you, I wore them side by side for 5 days solid. And there are parts during the wear where they're almost indistinguishable. I always wear my perfumes when I'm comparing them one extremity to the other. One gets sprayed on one arm and then the other perfume on the other arm, because that's the easiest way to tell them apart. You can just kind of go back and forth. Every single person I asked could tell the difference. So for the purposes of being practical, and if you were not to wear them side by side, it would be extremely hard to tell them apart. And again, this is a Dominique Ropion creation. I also have Vanagloria, and in fact, after this video is done, I'm gonna do a video on 7 alternatives for Baby Cat. One of those being Vanagloria. So I would put this in between Baby Cat and Vanagloria. They share a little bit of both. I have Baby Cat, I have Vanagloria, and I now have this. And is it redundant to have them all? Absolutely. Does anybody else out there need them all 3 of them? Absolutely not. Will I get rid of one of them? Maybe. But again, seeing that this is my very favorite note combination, this is me in a bottle, I don't mind having a little redundancy for that reason, and there are teeny tiny differences, and I never want to run out of this type of fragrance, particularly in the cold weather. So this is not quite as ambery. It's a little bit more smoky in the opening when you compare it to Baby Cat, but in the middle, like hour 4 or 5, they're indistinguishable. And in the dry down, Baby Cat wins out just a hair. It lasts just a little bit longer. It's a little bit more complex, and the vanilla on me comes through. But Eau The Audacity, I love it just as much as I love my Baby Cat. And if you can't get your hands on, I got this at Selfridges, if you can't get your hands on Baby Cat, this is a perfect substitution. Okay, speaking of favorite scent combinations, I love that cinnamony apple pie, tonka, you know, naughty, spicy apple pie, tobacco-y apple pie, boozy apple pie, naughty apple pie, that fragrance profile. I have a lot of overlap with regards to that category, and you will be seeing some of those perfumes in an upcoming video entitled, You Do Not Need All These Perfumes. However, since it is one of my favorite profiles to wear in the colder months, I tend to wear that, and the one I wore the most was right here. It's called Divine Vanille. I've had this since before I started my channel. I got this right when that line came out. It's a brilliant line. Top Noses have created different perfumes in this line, and for a niche brand, 100 mLs, it's like 75 bucks. I mean, you really cannot get any better. But if you have Herod, if you like Herod, these are basically siblings. These are sisters, twins. These are definitely scent siblings. There are small differences, but they are one and the same. And they're both by the same perfumer, Olivier Pouchot. And as we know, in the case of Baby Cat and Dominique Ropion, when perfumers tend to recreate perfumes that they love and that are popular, and here is the case. I want to say, to be honest with you, I don't know which one came out first, but they are basically one and the same. I get slightly better longevity with this one, but it is gorgeous. And the funny thing happened is that Pat and I were we literally crossed paths. I was heading out the door for an evening activity. He was coming in from work, and he texted me and said, do I need to feed the dogs? Have they had dinner? And by the way, you smell great, which he never does that. Maybe I'll show the little text over here. And this was the perfume I was wearing. So it's just a wonderful perfume in that fragrance category. It's always been a favorite of mine, very versatile vanilla, and I love it. So the next one we're gonna go with is one of my very favorite gourmands at the moment. I've always been a big gourmand lover. The sweeter, the better. This year has been a little bit different. I haven't really been dying to wear fragrances that are overtly chocolatey or have a super heavy, thick note of coffee or just super sweet. I want to wear gourmands that have taken it down a notch. And this is the gourmand that I have been pulling for the most because it's got a lot of sweetness. It's very, very gourmand, but there is this amazing note of a pimento leaf that just makes this perfume, in my opinion, a gourmand masterpiece. And it is mouthwatering and delicious, and I just cannot stop wearing it in the cold months. I showed this in my caramel video. This is caramel, vanilla, salted butterfudge, oak, different kinds of spirits. It's very, very sweet, brown sugar. But offsetting all those notes is this green, almost a toasty, pimento leaf, and I think it's just absolutely spectacular. Some people it might throw, they might think it leans masculine. I absolutely don't. I think this is the perfect unisex gourmand. It is mouth-watering and addictive, and even though it sounds like it's heavy with all those heavy notes, it's not an overpowering, in-your-face fragrance. It's this perfect little scent bubble. I absolutely love it. Got tons of wear in the month of October. So another one, this little guy is so cute. This is called Cafe Oud, and this is from the newest release, the Oudgasm collection, and I got all 4. And I was testing all 4 in the month of October, and the one, even though I think Vanilla Oud is the most universally appealing, I think the most people are going to be drawn to it because it's very likable. It's a very easy to like perfume. There was something about Cafe Oud that just drew me in, and I kept wanting to wear it. I wanted to test it. It was just something that I kept pulling for. So this is the one I wore out of the collection the most, and it is a warm, woody, musky geranium perfume. So to me, the star of the show is a geranium, and geranium to me smells like a spicy green rose, like a fresh green rose. So a little bit, you get that rosiness there. The cafe or the coffee or the cappuccino note really doesn't come out. It's not really in your face. And this has a nice woody base. I get no oud in the sense of what most people think about oud. There's nothing animalic. There's nothing funky at all. I just get a nice woody base. Now, as this dries down, the geranium fades, the rosiness fades, and I do pick up more of a sweet creaminess. So it might be the sandalwood. If there's sandalwood in here, it's probably that coffee note or the cappuccino note, maybe with some vanilla. So it does fade into this really nice, pretty, soft, mysterious perfume. And this was my favorite of the 3. And I would say, you know, wear is soft. It's not overpowering, a nice intimate scent bubble, but one I just could not stop wearing. And the last one is from Giardini di Toscana. I am kind of out on my own. I'm wearing one that kind of doesn't get any attention, but I just absolutely love it. It's called Bianco Oro, and I think this means white gold. But this is a powerhouse amber perfume, salty, ambery perfume with a little bit of rose, patchouli, and some sort of, I want to say, woody base. It's strong. It has a very beautiful, addictive, salty amber, and I think there's something, acetylox, ambergris, something that's giving it a saltiness, and it mixes perfectly with this warm amber note and the patchouli and a little bit of rose, but this also has a pretty hefty dose of pepper. Pepper comes out pretty strong in the beginning. In fact, half of the perfumes in this line have a lot of pepper, but man, I think it makes it perfectly unisex. It is a gorgeous attention getter. I love it. It is also, this is very much aligns with my taste. I also like Celeste and Bianco Latte. I like so many in that line, but this is the one I wore most during the day in October. The one I wore most at night. This is going to get a little bit of a shout out because it was Bianco Latte. Do I even need to say anything about Bianco Latte? A delicious, you know, warm, creamy, vanilla caramel tonka perfume that's getting a lot of love. I find it very comforting and yummy, and it was one that I just really wanted to reach for in the cold weather after a bath. And that is all I have in my box, except I did want to talk about this lotion that I wore a ton in the month of October. I am a huge body care person. I have tons and tons of lotions, way too many, but the one I wore the most it's this one from Fresh Thyme. It's called Autumn Spice. This is like a cinnamony nutmeg icing on a cupcake. It was delicious, and I paired this with so many perfumes. You know which one it goes well with is Ginger Biscuit. I got that too. It didn't quite make the list because I wore these other ones more, but you'll be seeing Ginger Biscuit up in the future. But this one is like $3 at Fresh Thyme if you have a Fresh Thyme in your city. I don't know if it's just an American thing. Oh my gosh, it's a great one to wear in the winter months. And that's it. That is my October wrap up, the fragrances that I wore the most in the month of October. And I'm gonna try to start doing this at the end of the month, you know, kind of my monthly roundup, the fragrances I wore the most, because as you probably see, several of these haven't made any of my themed videos that I've done in the past couple months, and they may not make some of the themed videos that I have planned in the future, even though I absolutely adore them and wanted to share them with you. So that's it. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for stopping by. If you like my content, feel free to give me a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.